The next thing I need to set up for is to cut this angle on the feet. Cutting this angle on the feet is not required, but I think it would make things look a lot nicer. So what I did is I went from this point, which is the upper corner of the lap joint, and drew a line down to halfway in between here, so at the 2-inch mark. Then I took the protractor and measured the angle. Although it'll be difficult for you to see, it comes out to exactly 82 degrees. I now have the tapers completed on the feet, but because it was a bit of a tricky operation, I wanted to make sure I did it correctly. So I'm just going to show you how I did it. I used this taper jig, set it for the proper angle. The taper jig basically has a stop on it right here that you put the base of the wood against. With everything adjusted correctly, you can then just push your work right through and it'll cut it for you. The other side is the same way. Flip it over end to end. Put your material on the stop and push it through. And it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. We now have all of the pieces cut out and the lap joints created. The only parts I'll be running over corners on will be the top corner of the feet and all corners of the dowel rod holders. The way I usually round over a corner is I'll take a washer about the size that I like. It's up to you. Put it in the corner and strike a mark. Same thing on the other side. Put the washer in, line up the edges, strike a mark. And we'll follow this procedure for all the edges I want to round over. With all the corners marked, I'm now off to the disc sander to remove the material. Okay, we're ready to start rounding off those corners. Again, safety glasses and hearing protection is a must. I noticed it wasn't sanding quite square. So I made a quick adjustment to the table. Let's try this again. When working on any project, you probably realize that the order of operation for the build is pretty important. Well, there's one thing that I forgot to do. The hole for the casters go on the bottom of the feet. So if I try to drill now, it'll tip. When I place the foot on the drill press table, it then gives me the exact angle I need to drill a 90-degree hole in the second foot. Let's try it out. That worked perfectly. So this is just a pilot hole for the larger drill bit that I'll be using later to drill the final size hole. Let's get all those pilot holes drilled. That works perfectly. Now we'll just trade positions. This one I already drilled. This is my test piece. And that's okay. All right, all the pilot holes are now drilled. Let's clear some space on the drill press table. There's one more thing I want to show you. I need to make sure I don't drill too far through the wooden foot so the drill doesn't pop through the other end of the foot. But I also want to make sure that the hole is deep enough to accept the hole peg for the caster. So let's measure the caster. Inch and a half. Rather than set the depth stop on the drill press, I'm going to put a mark on the drill at an inch and a half. That way I'll be able to see it while the drill is rotating, and I'll know exactly when to stop drilling the hole so I don't go too far through. Okay, that looks good. Let's test that mark. Sorry, I keep bumping the camera. You can see the line right there. That'll work just fine. Now the other issue I have is my drill press table doesn't go down any further than this. Because this drill bit is longer, I'm not going to be able to stack up these feet with as much support as I had before. See, it doesn't fit. So the only way to do this is to bring the taper down so we'll make sure that it's level, and then I'll bring the other foot in just as a support, like that. And now it's a good stable surface for drilling. All right, I went just a little past the line to give me a little extra play. Almost lost this other foot. Let's do a test fit. That is perfect. Let's drill the other side. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this foot flat on the table right here. This is my flat spot. Slide it over against the fence. I need to support that. So we'll take the other foot, bring it in just far enough so we don't have the hole out of square. It's a little tricky. Line up the hole. That should work. All right. Do another test fit. Perfect. It's a nice firm fit. And now for the other foot. That's good. One to go. Perfect. All right, we are all done drilling the holes in the feet for the casters.